Welcome everybody to another episode of the FACEIT Profiles. I'm here this time with NbK, our first CS profile. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to the profile and thanks very much for doing this with us. Do you want to introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you?
Well, it's not very complicated. I've been playing in VeryGames. First my name is Nathan NbK NbK. I've been playing in Team VeryGames since 4 years now. And I've been going all over the world on Counter-Strike Global Offensive since the game got released. And that's pretty much it. I'm just playing as a rifle in my team, and that's pretty much it.
Alright, so a question I should probably ask right now, just to get it out of the way with, is, I know you might not be able to say much, but what is the future of VG going to look like?
That's actually a pretty complicated question. Well, I can't say anything at the moment, but just to take the words of my leader, Existence, next year we're not going to play for the second place, and we're going to be looking forward to winning all the events we're going to be a part in. And we're going to have the chance and the opportunity to do so by the financial things and all the accommodation that's going to happen. So it's going to be very, very good.
That's really good to hear. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are very happy about that. So you're here to cast, and you may have noticed a lovely backdrop. It is, of course, Christmas time. Hopefully you can hear the awesome Christmas tunes as well. But this is your second time casting, if I'm right. So is casting going to be something you're going to be doing a lot more of? And
well, yes, definitely something I enjoy doing it. I did it once. Only once for one single best of one game. And coming here in a studio in order to cast like a whole evening of best of one and best of 3 games, it's something new and different. And it's pretty hard to being able to both make casting, playing, and being at tournaments and practicing. If I have the opportunity to do it at some good times, I'm gonna do it, like such as now. But on the other hand, it's gonna be pretty complicated.
All right, so I want to actually throw us back a little bit. You mentioned Existence, and I think a really relevant topic at the moment is actually leadership, because of course with Fnatic's win with Pronax and everything, and Thorin's great article which explored it. So how does Existence run things at VeryGames?
Well, I think Existence is the different kind of leader that there is at the moment on the scene. There is people like Taz, Pronax obviously exists, that have some kind of simple leadership, I think, where all the players have to, give their own thing if they want the game to be great. Whereas Existence is just looking to a team game where everyone knows pretty much what they have to do, and he's going to be the one calling, yeah, let's go on B, let's go on A, by that way, etc., etc. Obviously, we can cut him down and be like, no, we've got the solution, so let us do it. But he is working a lot on having the small differences in the tactics, like for the smokes and the flashes, are going to make the whole difference into the whole, meta game. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. He's different from the other players.
So speaking of that, strategies and tactics and stuff, and getting those perfect smokes, how does it happen when, let's say, because we've seen VeryGames, your team innovate sometimes with certain strategies or different things that no one's seen before. So how does the process work? You get the idea to do a strategy, and then how does the process go towards implementing it in a pro level tournament?
Well, thing is, we have 2 ways of making tactics. The first one will obviously be just watching what the others do, like the other teams, and trying to improve it in a way, or just take it straight if it's perfect. Or we can just sit on the server and be like, yeah, what fucked us up? And coming from this base, we just go ahead and be like, okay, how to counter it the best possible. When we have those informations, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna totally be around for us. So that's more like a mental thing, when you just try to imagine, brainstorming about the possibilities, and once you have the solution, you just try to make it as good as possible. And that's how we go in order to create new tactics.
That sounds about how I think people envisage VeryGames. A lot of people have this image that VeryGames is perhaps the most hardworking team. How do you balance, let's say, your practice, the theory and doing stuff like running strategies versus just, executional practice?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say the most hardworking team, because some teams are just starting at 3 in the afternoon and end up at midnight. we're probably one of the most methodical team in the world, and that's how we probably have an advantage, like tactic-wise. We just go on a server, you know, like generally 1 or 2 hours when we really have to work on something before our practice. And we just, yeah, go on the server and like make some brainstorming, like what was wrong, how can we counter that, like how can we fix it, which defenses can you create or whatever. And then we just go on the server and try to practice on, you know, different maps, like if the solution is working, if what we are aiming to do is working as well. So yeah, it's just about like the method we do it, and we try to do it as good as possible, and that's probably how we are different from the other teams, but not especially paying more than them.
Okay, do you have any, let's say, is there one guy who's like just a troublemaker, you know, how does it work with the chemistry? And of course, I think a lot of teams, they struggle to like find that 5, and you guys are really stuck with a solid lineup of 5. So do you want to tell me about how the dynamics and chemistry works in the team?
Well, obviously we got like, I mean, in a group of 5, you have to have like some funny players who are just going to be like living up the group, you know, like they're just going to be here and having fun and make you enjoy the time. And for example, in our team, it's going to be Smith. He's like, you know, the funny guy, like walking around, being like funny and just, you know, making jokes every single time, but he's also like working hard when he wants to. And then like, we have just good friendships in the team. Extens is a very good friend of Niak. Sharks and Smith are like, you know, super mega close. And Scream and I are friends as well. And overall, we're all like friends with each other. So we are able to tell what's good and what's wrong to the others. And that's how we can keep a good chemistry. There's like no real hidden thing. And we just say like, I mean, sometimes we just have very bad fights about like, dude, you did shit. Like, you have to pick yourself up, otherwise it's not going to be possible in a team. And that's probably one of our strengths. So, with VeryGames, and let's say, you guys are basically a top 3 team, and that's how everyone also perceives you. And you seem like one of the most stable teams. What happened with NiP, though? I mean, it took you guys a very long time to defeat NiP. So, what was wrong, and how did you have something specifically that fixed it, or what happened with that? Actually, during ESEA, we played several games, and we faced NIP on the best of 3, and we lost 2-0, 16-14, 16-14. And at this point of time, we just thought that, you know, we just reached our maximum potential with this team, and there was something lacking, and that was on the terrorist side. We were lacking of solutions, like how to counter a team during the game, and not before the game. So we brought Sharks in, and even though we changed the sniper for a slower one, we gotta say, because Kanyas is definitely like the fastest sniper in the world, we had some new solutions that we didn't have before, and that's probably what was the game-changing fact against NIP. And since we have this lineup with Sharks, we won more over NIP than they won over us. So I think now we have some good solutions against them, and we can do it pretty well. So, am I right in saying you guys kind of studied NIP a lot? What would you say their weaknesses are going to be, or is there an area of the game that they can really improve on in your eyes? Well, I remember Thorin at DreamHack Winner. He said one thing that was totally true, in my opinion, and that was, you know, just the thing that happened when we started beating them and other events. Well, we, like both teams, we had specific game style where like we were very like tactic based, like heavily, and they were like adapting every single time, like running weapon in hand and just, you know, headshotting faster than anyone else. And every single team took a bit of their opponent's team, and that was like, you know, kind of the medicine for the whole, like, being able to beat the other team. And that's exactly what happened. When NIP beat us at DreamHack, they were more methodical in how to take some spots, and that worked out extremely good for them. And we started beating them when we tried to stop being that tactic based and just going like adapting and just like, you know, headshotting faster than them, because we have a team that can do that. So, would you say that NIP, any of their players, you know, is underrated or overrated? They're a very solid lineup as well. So, any thoughts? Well, first of all, I think no player in NIP are overrated. I mean, Forrest and Gerhard is just like another level of the game. They're just amazing. Freiberg, I like the term that Thorin said as well once. He was like, yeah, he's the irrational, overconfident guy. Like, sometimes you're just gonna be so confident he's gonna be the best player in the world, because he's just gonna like headshot you faster than you could ever think of. And XDS is obviously an excellent player as well. And Fiflarian, I think Fiflarian is like the most like underrated player in the world at the moment, because you know, during tough times when NIP are losing, for example, he's generally the guy making the big play, like clutching a 1-on-2 or 1-on-3, or having like, you know, the key shots that's gonna make the whole team come back. And obviously he's not like at the top of the scoreboard every single time, but since few months he improved a lot of his game, and he was a very good player, and now he's just an excellent player. So yeah, they just have an extremely strong team.
So how did you get into this whole competitive gaming thing, and did you start with CS? How did it work for you?
Well, basically that was a long time ago. When I was still a kid, my dad and my brother, were just playing a lot as well on the computer, and I was in some kind of community, you know, playing 1.5 or Day of Defeat, or you know, like random games, and yeah, it just got like this. Like, I stopped playing for a long time. I mean, like, I wasn't really playing. And then in 2008, I started playing, like, into the esports scene. I mean, I just got interested into all the stuff. And in 2009, I had my first LAN, like, in August. And after that, like, a few months ago, I was picked by VeryGames, and here I came, and I stood there, just playing as good as I could, and I did it.
That's a pretty good story. I gotta say, that's good stuff. All right, so next question has to be about let's say the state of the game right now. So where do you like Valve have been very receptive to the community feedback, and they changed the game massively over the last year. It's a completely different game to a year ago. So is there something that they haven't done yet which you'd really like them to do, or if they're listening now, what should they change?
Well, actually, like, a good question, but I think the game is overall very good. Like, if you play it on LAN, there is very few flows. Everything is smooth. I think for the spectators, it's good as well. Now I think, like, the record is good, but I think the main problem at the moment on the game would be the matchmaking and the cheaters overall on this, because there is, like, since the game was in promotion before, during DreamHack, okay, we had like 90,000 players on the game, but there was so many cheaters, it just ruined the game for a lot of people. They couldn't like play and be like enjoying the game. And that's probably one thing they should be like looking into having a very, very good, nice anti-cheat. Even though on Counter-Strike it's always very, very hard. That's the one thing I would change on the game right now, if I could change something.
Okay, what would you say is, let's say there's some aspiring players watching, they want to be as good as NbK, and what is the best way to get good as quickly as possible?
Well, it's good, I think, to be around people who are not especially like the best people, but who are interested into the game, like interested into how things work, and why do people like play like this and not on like, why do they make that tactic, why does this guy isn't on his bot or whatever. That's one of the key things. I mean, if you want to be a good player, you have to have good movements, good positioning. That's going to be the first thing. Then you have just to play. I mean, the first way every single player got recognized on the scene at the moment is just kill-wise. I mean, there were like every single one, like every single person that came at a pro level in the game has been discovered on the first hand for their skill, because there were like monsters of skill just coming and like raping everyone basically. So if you want to get looked over, it has to be like the primal thing you should be looking forward to.
Speaking of just incredible skill, many people are chanting JW best at the moment, and of course they had, Fnatic had such a great performance at the last DreamHack winter, winning and so on. So do you think that they're the next dominant team? Is that in their future, or is they just a good team and they had one good tournament? What do you think?
I think I see the DreamHack pretty much like how ESWC happened with this. They were on the good side of the bracket. I mean, obviously there was no easy team, but on the one side of the bracket there was NIP, Kapadia and Wolves, Recursive, and like so many good teams. And they had to beat Recursive in a close best of 3, then Complexity like 2-0 pretty easily, and then Fnatic, which was like a Swedish game. So I think, well, in a way they got lucky. Well, in a way, they got lucky in a bracket and everything like that. But on the other hand, when I watched the game, I was really amazed by how good they play. Like I was watching at them and like there is no mistake in the game. They're just playing perfectly. Still, I think regarding the way they play, I mean, they're with Pronax for a month now, I think, or a bit more. And their game style is pretty simple, you know, and like, you know, I mean, having played against them a lot of time already, I know how they are, I mean, how Pronax is thinking, how things work in their team. So, I don't see them, I mean, they're going to be definitely a top team, like, that's 100% sure, because they're just excellent. But I don't see them, like, winning, you know, straight, like, 10 events in a row. I don't see that happening.
Right, so you're saying that they're not necessarily leaders of metagame, and you think they can get figured out relatively, not necessarily easily, but they will get figured out. As you're... Okay, so with Fnatic, they of course have Pronax, great leader. What in your eyes makes the best leader? Because I'm sure, again, I think leaders, or good leaders, I think the community is lacking that basically. There's a lot of people trying to figure it out. So in your eyes, if the team's really struggling, they need a good leader, what qualities, how do you train and so on?
I think a good leader has to put a good spirit onto the team, like within the team. Being able to have 5 players linked with him and like trusting 100%, that must be like the one thing. Because if a leader like loses the trust from his player, he's just gonna be like, I mean, it's gonna be awful. Apart from that, well, he must be hardworking, I think, more than the players. He must be like always looking over for the tactics, watching the other teams, how they work, how they approach the game. And a good leader must be like, I mean, he must be here for the team. He must be able to clutch. He must be able to win some one-on-ones, 1-on-2, even 1-on-3 or even more, you know. Like, he must be like skill-wise, he must be present as well. So it's like the 3 big qualities, I think, for a leader. Making a spirit within the team, being able to frag as well, and then just being a hard worker in general.
Has there been a moment when, let's say, something happened, I don't know what it is, but you guys just broke down, everyone's angry at each other, or someone was really badly raging? Like, have you had those moments? Can you describe some of them? Or?
Well, we had one, and it was at DreamHack Bucharest, where we got just stomped by NRP. I mean, they just like crushed us. And it's like you're just playing and you know that you're gonna lose because no one is going your way, and you're just like, you're not even motivated for the game. You're like, no, I don't agree with him, so I'm gonna try my thing, even though he doesn't think it's a good thing. And it's just gonna go back and forth, and you know that you're gonna end up losing the game no matter what, because you know, playing against especially NIP, you just have to be on point, and if you're not like all together, you're not going to be able to, outcome them. And that was a pretty awful moment.
So, speaking of this, what actually, like, of course you guys didn't win DreamHack Winter, so what was the problem? Because you guys must have talked about it, right?
I think there was a problem, like, yeah, there was some problems within the team. Like, we weren't agreeing on some points, like, out of the game. And in general, that just kind of split up the team, like, mentally. And as I said, against a team like NIP, you just can't have that kind of flows. And that partly made us lose the game. We lost in Dust 2, but we should have won. Like, I'm 100% sure about that. Like, it should have been our game. And then winning on Inferno and being 2-0, that should have been ours. But yeah, having that little break probably, yeah, made us lose like those key rounds. And even on the group stage against Complexity, it's a 16-14, but I feel like we played 50% for our level. I mean, not taking anything away from Complexity, they had like some very good tactics, like played extremely well. But I still feel like it's our bad, not these guys that played like amazingly well. It's just like we lacked of something. So
coming away from that event, is like, how are you guys going to grow from that event? What did you take from that event? And like, okay, we're going to focus on this thing. Do you have something like that from DreamHack?
Yeah, kind of. Well, first, we have obviously things regarding the game that we're going to have to improve because the game is constantly evolving. So we're going to have to change some tactics, defenses, etc. And on the other hand, we have to get that very good team spirit that we had before. Like, coming up at the EMS, like no one was blaming each other. We were all like, yeah, all being together, and with one idea in head, just like winning, no matter what, at any cost. So we have to find that spirit back, all together, being hungry for the win, and then we're gonna keep on working hard. That's obvious. So we just have to do it now.
So what do you think is the best way to like stimulate really good team spirit? Is like a weekend away at like a water park or at the beach or something, or is there something that could work well for you guys?
Well, sometimes it can be either, yeah, doing some stuff together, like enjoying, like, I don't know, like partying or just like going, walking around, or, you know, like, could be anything. Or it could be just, like, you stop every single relationship with the team and you're like in your world for a bit because you feel like you've had too much and you're just like off the things. So it's like either of these, and considering the fact that we're gonna probably be together for a long time next year, now it's time to a bit like, you know, take some time apart from the game, from the team, and next year have the best team chemistry possible and play together.
All right, sounds like a good plan. Who do you think is, let's say, the most overrated player in Counter-Strike Global Offensive right now?
The most overrated player? That's a pretty hard question to say. Like, I mean, there's like so many good players, it's so hard to say, and the players that are hyped are generally the best ones. So, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
You don't have to answer that.
Okay, I don't have to answer that. Well, I think the hype on Clown Mystic done after ESWC was a bit too much. But I mean, they're obviously a good team, so I'm not going to say about overrated or anything, but I think like some moments of hype are just sometimes way too exaggerated for some stuff.
Okay, what about, let's say, the team with the most potential? You look at them and then you look at their results and you're like, something's wrong here.
Well, I think it must be Arsenal Dragons. I mean, I don't know what they're doing, like, to be honest. And they have a gaming house, they have everything to be good. And it feels like they just can't make it. Like, they lost in the quarterfinal like at DreamHack. They lost as well in the quarterfinal in another big tournament. I mean, what's wrong, man? Like, they're just such an excellent team. They pull off so many good results. And they're just not here. I mean, I just want them to show their best potential. And I know that people like Angel, Mark Love, and everything are like, they're like fucking champions. They must win. And I don't know what's going on. And on the other hand, Navi, with the new lineup, with Gordon and everyone, has got a lot of potential, I think. So that's probably the two teams.
What about underrated then? Like the underrated player, let's go with.
Underrated players, well, it's obviously my pick is obviously going to be Ferrari. He's just the guy that everyone looks down to, and he's just, I mean, in my opinion, he's a very good player, especially since the last month. Then there is Existence is like looked down as well because he's like, you know, not really topping the scoreboard every single time, but he just built VeryGames from the beginning to the end, and I mean, he's the one creating the whole thing and the whole game and the chemistry and everything, so that would be the two guys.
So kind of a follow-up question from the Asana Dragons thing. What is, let's say, the biggest mistake or the most common mistake you see really high-level teams making?
I think it's the lack of methodical plays. Some teams are just like, yeah, we're going to throw that random flash and it's going to flash everyone, and it started wrong. Like, it's just off the page. So I think, yeah, if you're methodical in the game, in your tactic at least, you're gonna have the edge on a lot of things. On the other hand, it can be good also to have like improvised things and to be very, very good at it. That was, you know, like the same difference between VeryGames and NIP. We were too methodical and they were too improvising, and we took, like, both teams took a bit from each other. So yeah, that must be the one thing. Also, with the, like, when you hold a bomb site, you just can't be like, yeah, we planted the bomb and now we won the round, because you have to have the perfect crossfires, like outthinking the opponent in that and being able to react to prepared things. Otherwise, you can just lose 2 rounds.
I think a lot of people can learn from that. I think that's really sound advice. Let's actually move this on to some more personal questions so people can learn a bit more about you. So what are some of your favorite things at NbK? Like, I don't know, puppies and stuff, I don't know.
My favorite things? Oh shit. I'm a pretty huge gambler. Like, I love to, you know, go to the casino, like playing poker or even on the Hit or whatever. Yeah, card games, stuff like that. Apart from that, yeah, like just cheating, like
Your girlfriend.
yeah, my girlfriend as well. Like that's obviously a big point. Like of course, there's just so many things. Like being with humans in general. Like what I want to be with, obviously, like not like random people, but like just friends and just hanging out, like having fun, just being cool and yeah, that's like I also love eating. Like I don't seem like it, but I'm a big eater. Like I love to eat and stuff like that.
Favorite dishes then?
It's like simple, but I love pastas and any sauce. Like you put me like some good sauce with pastas and it's fucking sick. Like I love it. So yeah, that's pretty much the things. Like
so you need your fans at events to come up to you with big like pasta dishes. Okay.
They're gonna be the best guys ever. Like if they come online, like and they hand me like carbonara or bolognese, I'm gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna be the best.
Nice. Okay, so what about let's talk about music and movies. Music and movies. Favorites, go.
Favorites. Let's go with music. I love. There's one artist who's like an American artist. It's NbK. He's like a rapper, a kind of different rapper. Like makes me think of like stuff. Like sometimes he makes rap, sometimes normal songs, then some rock rap songs. Well, never mind. And of course, like I like the kind of like 2005-3 music, so like kind of old school, like old rock or just like pretty old, like old songs. And concerning movies, like I'm a huge fan of movies like the DiCaprio movies. They're like, for example, Inception or Shutter Island. I mean, you have to think so much during the movie. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you're like, oh yeah, I got it this time. Yeah, that took me only 6 times to watch the film. And like the kind of stuff like this, or obviously like action movies, thriller, those kind of stuff.
Okay, so continuing the theme of personal questions. What is do you have a big focus outside of CSGO, let's say, whether it be studying or work, or is there something that you really want to do with your life besides CS, any other focuses?
Well, I would like to, how can I say it? To have a follow-up with not especially the esport market, but in the, kind of marketing, like, being able to get out with someone out of Counter-Strike. I mean, obviously Counter-Strike, I know that I'm not gonna do that for like years and stuff like that. But on the other hand, I think there is good things that you can do with the game and manage to evolve from that, and that's what I'm looking forward to at the moment. Obviously, I've been studying and I've did some very, very interesting stuff. But I mean, what I'm doing is just gonna be once in a lifetime. I think I'm not gonna play video games when I'm gonna be 70. So I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as possible, and as long as I can make money out of it and not being like at home and not doing anything, that's a good thing. But yeah, obviously there's something else I want to do after the game. I still don't know what it is yet, but it's like that would be something, 100% sure.
Definitely. So do you have any last shout outs, anything? We should wrap this up now, so anyone you say thank you to and so on and so forth? Well,
like it's probably gonna be my last interview under the VeryGames name, so I'm gonna thank them once again for the whole support. Like it's been just amazing for 4 years. Like the crew, like Joan, MC, and everyone in the VeryGames company, all the players as well, like everyone basically. Like thanks to Razor as well. I mean, they've been following us since like 1 year, I think, and I mean no, way more, like 2 years, I think. And yeah, they've always been like providing us as many stuff as possible, and it's definitely the best stuff out there. So you can check them out, obviously.
So thanks very much for the interview, NbK. It's a pleasure. And guys, if you like this content, you can find more profiles and videos like it at FACEIT.com, our YouTube channel. And also, if you want to check out our streams, just go to twitch.tv/FACEITTV, and of course, sign up on the platform, FACEIT.com, and play some CS. So that's all from me and NbK for now, and we'll see you guys later.